so that's first there. Before writing, he mentioned 500 witnesses saying that Jesus died and rose again. He mentioned 500 witnesses. So that, therefore, if I say, I don't know, what's his name? Mansur slapped me, and there's 500 witnesses. But no, Mansur didn't slap me. Someone would say, no, he didn't slap me. Okay, so he mentioned 500, giving an opportunity for anyone to deny that he was crucified. We go into Matthew, Mark, Luke, John. Okay, they all report on the crucifixion of Jesus Christ. We go external articles, non-Christian witnesses. They all report. Tacitus, we have about 62 witnesses in the first century. Tacitus, Tullus, and
how many witnesses?
We have about 62. I can't mention all of them.
62 witnesses.
Roughly,
yeah.
Okay.
First
but from the first century we have evidence. So now show me from the first century anyone that contradicts that Jesus Christ died by crucifixion.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak. So, I asked you, and let me repeat what I said. Give us documentary evidence which is surviving from the first century about the crucifixion of Christ. So you should be able to point out this museum, this library, this private collector who has this manuscript from the first century. Do we have, let me repeat to you again, do we have any surviving manuscripts, documents from the first century talking about the crucifixion? I will give you an opportunity to respond.
So you're saying that, do we have any surviving manuscripts? In other words, are you saying that because there was no, if there is no manuscript, document manuscript dated in the first century, that means Jesus didn't die? Is that what you're saying?
No. I'm asking you simply.
The same way I put it to you.
No, I'm asking you simply.
Give me any documentary evidence from the time of Uthman, a full manuscript coming from the 6th century of the Quran.
So we were talking about.
The same way. Give me manuscript evidence.
Listen.
Wait, I haven't finished.
You haven't finished.
I haven't finished.
Finish and tell us
what he's saying. Wait. What you're saying is that we need to have manuscripts dated to the same time for it to be. So, for example, if for 2017 we have to have manuscript dated in 2017 for it to be true that there's 2017 witness. First of all, you need to provide that for the Quranic books. Is there any manuscript? Secondly, we know that from the century of when Jesus lived, we know what they were writing on. They were writing on papyri that disintegrated. Yes, they were writing on papyri.
Are you saying there's no documents of papyri from the first century in our museums?
No, but what I'm saying is that the Christians, the Christian mathematically, they were writing on papyri that that was the main.
Sad.
Yes, they're
very sad. Anyway.
However, in the time of Muhammad, we know that the Muslims were in power. They were rich. By that time, we had the skin. What do you call it?
So you're answering the question I asked you, right?
I am answering you.
Which
so
is
we know
what
that,
question have I asked you?
Wait. We know that you have Islamic literature which was written on things that were much better than papyri. So can you produce me manuscript? Then you should have your manuscript from the 6th century. Can you produce me the Quranic manuscript from the 6th century?
Okay. I love to talk about the Quran, as you always know. But the subject matter, I thought you finished.
No, I finished.
Thank you. The subject that we started talking about is the alleged crucifixion of Jesus Christ and the alleged evidence for that crucifixion.
Yes.
So I asked you a very simple question. It is not difficult to understand or comprehend. Do you have any surviving manuscripts from the first century of Christianity which talks about crucifixion? So I give you an opportunity to answer. Do you have them? Yes? No? I don't know? Maybe? I don't care. Which one is your answer?
What I'm saying to you is that
I gave you the options. Yes, we do. No, I don't. Maybe. I don't care. I don't know. Yeah? So which one? Do you have any, let me repeat again, clearly. Do you have any extant documentary evidence from the first century of Christianity that Christ was crucified?
Right. I'm saying we have documentary evidence, people that lived in the first century reporting about Jesus Christ's death and resurrection. What I'm saying
is that a yes then?
Listen to me. We have
No, I want to make it simple.
From the first
make your answer
century.
simple because you're confusing everyone.
Are you going to allow me to respond or not?
Look, I gave you easy. Look, When I
I'm
say,
not going to answer the way you
please,
listen.
look, I give you 5 options.
Do you want us to time this, please?
Excuse me,
Let's time
look,
this.
you don't need to time because
Let's
you're not a child.
time
I'm not a
this,
child.
because you're not going to
we can,
speak
we
over
can,
me.
we can speak very
You're not going to
intelligently.
speak over me, and I'm not going to speak over
No.
you. So
Listen.
let's time it and have.
Whether the question was this: do you possess any documentary evidence of the crucifixion from the 1st century of Christianity? The potential answers are.
Do you have
Let me
any
finish.
documentary
Let me
evidence
finish.
of the Quran
Let me finish.
from the 6th century?
Let me finish. You see, when you come along boasting about so-called evidence, now we are examining this evidence. So I'm asking you whether you have them. The answer to this question is simple. Yes, we do. No, we don't. I don't know.
Okay, why?
Maybe or I don't care.
Why is it important?
Which one is the answer?
Why is it important? Tell me why it's important.
Answer first, then I will tell you why.
Tell me why it's important and I'll answer you.
Give me the answer first, and I will tell you why it's important.
Okay, we started from here. I'm saying.
5 options. Don't give me the 6th one.
Okay,
5.
Can I respond to you? But
One of those 5. One of those 5.
I want to respond to you and I don't want to talk with you. I'm saying to you, we have evidence right from before prophecies. Finally, we're going to put that aside. Historically, we have evidence. So many evidence from the 1st century, reports from the 1st century reporting that Jesus Christ died by a crucifixion. We have the early creed.
You are repeating the same thing again?
I am going to repeat it just in case you don't understand it.
No. I understand perhaps as you do, right?
You're not going to interrupt me.
So I asked you to answer the question that I asked.
I'm going to walk away.
You will do that, I know that, because the moment you know your game is up, you will walk away. I asked you to provide the evidence from the 1st century.
Are you contradicting? Are you saying to me, this is the statement I'm making to you, and you're going to tell me whether you agree with the statement or not and why, okay?
Listen what I asked you.
No.
I asked you, do you have the evidence? The answer is I do or I don't.
Listen.
What's the answer?
conversation started from me, okay? It was a conversation.
Do you have the evidence?
You walked into my conversation where I'm saying.
So do you have the evidence?
There was a absolute plethora of witnesses from the 1st century.
No, that's your belief. That's not evidence. There's a difference between belief and evidence.
Non-Christian historians, if you go and do your research.
Who?
Historians.
Yeah, who can provide me a 1st century document that Christ was crucified? Name me one historian on planet Earth that has access to a 1st century document about crucifixion. I am having a conversation already. I am having one. Okay. So name me one historian on planet Earth that can give you a 1st century document, extant manuscript, that Christ was crucified in the 1st century available. Go on.
Okay, so
I'm listening.
Can I respond?
That's the idea.
Okay.
Go ahead.
You're going to interrupt me.
I don't interrupt. I'm asking you to respond.
I'm going to respond, and I don't want you to interrupt.
To my question, right?
I'm going to respond.
To my question?
I am going to respond.
To my question?
And I
don't want you to respond to someone else's question. To my question, which is, do you have any 1st century documentation of Christ's crucifixion? I ask you no other question. This is my only one question.
I am going to respond, and if you interrupt me, I'm going to walk away. Okay? I said to you categorically that we have evidence, okay, from the 1st century, the 1st Corinthians Creed. We have evidence from Matthew, Mark, Luke, John. We have evidence outside of the external evidence outside of Christians from the 1st century, like Lucian, Tacitus. I've named a few. You can go and research them. From the people that in the 1st century pointed to Jesus Christ dying by crucifixion. Do you contradict it? Do you disagree or do you agree? If you disagree, tell me why, and then we can discuss that. I'm not going to play your game. Do you disagree that we have a... So that the first question I asked you first of all was, is there anything from the 1st century that contradicted Jesus Christ's death and resurrection? That was the question I asked you. You didn't answer that. Secondly, do you disagree that we have evidence with the wealth of historians, with the wealth of scholars that agree that Jesus Christ died? Even Buck Ehrman agrees that Jesus Christ died by crucifixion. Do you disagree with all this wealth of evidence? So I'm going to summarize. First of all, provide me any evidence from the 1st century that contradicts Jesus' death and resurrection. Secondly, tell me if you're disagreeing with this wealth of evidence that comes from the 1st century, and then we can have a dialogue that way.
Right. So, as you've now answered the question which I asked, which was, do you have any evidence?
He's not answering my question. Listen. Do you agree?
When you spoke, I didn't interrupt. So when I speak, I seek humbly that you do not interrupt as well. My question was simple. When you were discussing with my Muslim brother, there is evidence of crucifixion, right, from the 1st century. I thought that was an interesting subject that you're discussing. So I asked you this simple question. Let me repeat again. The question was, do you possess, do you have any documentary evidence from the 1st century of Christianity that Christ was crucified? And I gave you, to make it easier for you, because people tend to do this, right? I said, here are the 5 potential answers. Yes, we do. We possess evidence from the documentary evidence from the 1st century. No, we don't. I don't know. Maybe there is evidence, or I don't care. Now, I have categorized specifically these 5 potential answers so that it simplifies the answer. You have provided an answer to my question, which was what? In summary then, tell me now in summary. Yes, are you saying yes, there is documentary evidence from the 1st century? Repeat after me. Is there evidence of documentary evidence from the 1st century? No, I just want to say yes or no.
If you want me to respond to you, I'll respond.
No, you've already responded. I want to now clarify what you've said. Summarize in 2 statements.
Listen, I started off this
Listen. It's not about you. It's not about you. No. What you're doing again is this. Oh, I started talking about this. No. The conversation that I came with you was simply asking you one simple question. Do you possess any documentary evidence of the alleged crucifixion of Christ from the 1st century of Christianity? The answer is yes, we do or we don't, right? No, hang on. I've not finished yet. You have responded to this question. I am still confused, as well as everyone listening here and the people who will be listening later. Are you saying yes, we have documentary evidence, or are you saying we don't? Summarize.
Okay, I'm saying we
from the 1st century of Christianity.
We have documentary evidence. 1 Corinthians 15.
I didn't ask you about 1 Corinthians or Timothy. Do you have?
Very early.
Do you have any?
Excuse me. Within
why are Christians so difficult to speak to?
Oh my gosh!
I'm asking you. Do you have any documentary evidence from the 1st century?
Yes.
Where are they? Which one?
Wait. I've said to you, 1 Corinthians 5.
Okay, let's.
15.
Thank you.
1 Corinthians 15.
You've given me one. Let me analyze that.
Wait.
No, you've given me one. So let me analyze that.
1 Corinthians 15.
Excuse me, you've given me one.
I need to finish. You can't interrupt. I haven't finished. 1 Corinthians 15 talks about Jesus Christ dying and rising again, and he was buried as it was prophesied, and it mentioned 500 witnesses there. So if it was something to be denied, surely the witness should say, no, by the way, it didn't exist. In 1 Corinthians,
so I've got one then. Let me analyze it. Let me examine this evidence.
Dated this creed as early as between 5 to 20 years.
Look, there's no need to give me a lecture on this. You've already given me 1 Corinthians.
I haven't finished.
Why? Do you have to even give me a whole explanation about it?
Don't interrupt me, I haven't finished. So within 5 to 20 years, it was said that creed has been going, so which is verbal. Creed is verbal.
Oral tradition.
So
no documentary evidence.
Why are you interrupting?
Oh, I apologize. Sorry, carry on.
And then Corinthians was written down. It was dated to 55. So Paul was writing in 55 AD. 55 AD.
That manuscript is dated to 55 AD.
So it's still dated, written down. The oral tradition had been going on as early as within 5 years. Okay, and the written down evidence still points to the 1st century. So 55, it is, yes, they're all 1st century. I think they're all 1st century. If you're disagreeing, tell me that you disagree and why.
Let me examine. So now I asked you if you were, I'm sure you're not selective hearing things. I asked you a simple question. Does anyone understand what I mean by surviving documents from the 1st century? Extant documents. Where you can say, there you go, that's the papyri, that's the book, that's the parchment, this is a codex.
There is none.
Right.
There is none.
Thank you, you've been very honest.
There is none.
Now, thank you.
It doesn't matter.
Right. So now, wait.
No, when you say none,
right. So now, I want to examine the document, I want to examine the evidence you provided. So 1 Corinthians, you talk about, in my response to my question, do we have any documentary evidence from the 1st century? You said 1 Corinthians 15. That means you are telling me there is a document that survives from the 1st century of Christianity, the documents of 1 Corinthians 15. I have not finished. I have not finished.
Carry on.
Now this is a totally blatant ignorance. blatant ignorance. Because 1 Corinthians, the earliest surviving documents of 1 Corinthians 15 is not from the 1st century. Are you saying we have...
Can I respond to you?
Let me finish my point and you can respond. Because I am simply asking you, provide me one piece of documentary evidence from the 1st century of Christianity which talks about the crucifixion, and you offered me one. You offered me for the whole world to examine your statement, coming from a Christian apologist, from Fanda Films, wow, specialists, that what? 1 Corinthians 15 is that document, a document which is from the 1st century. I didn't say believed to be, I'm saying extant document. Are you saying we now have a document of some kind in either parchment, palimpsest, papyri, or whatever written form of 1 Corinthians 15 from the 1st century of Christianity? If you say we do, I would like to know where is this document?
Which museum?
Which library, which museum, which private possession, which academic journal or book or publication has talked about this?
Okay, can I? None. So, what I understand, you're making a distinction between manuscripts and something. So, what I started here from saying is that people from the 1st century, we have evidence of people speaking from the 1st century pointed to Jesus Christ's death and resurrection. So, are you saying that if there is if there's no manuscript evidence from that time, that means that couldn't have happened? I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. Are you saying that that means that's not true? Then if that's the case, then that means Quran is not true. Because do we have any manuscript evidence of the Quran, full manuscript writing from the 6th century? No, we do not. Do we have any evidence of Uthman's Quran, Uthman's version of the Quran from the 6th century? No, we don't. So the point is, I said from the 1st century they were writing in papyri. So what happened? The way manuscript works is that you write, you copy it. People write letters in the 1st century. They were writing letters. People were copying it over time and over time. But we know in the 1st century they were writing on papyri. Papyri disintegrates within 50 years. It doesn't last. So if it's unlikely that you would find papyri at that time because it disintegrates. However, people kept copying it and copying it and copying it. Now we have historians and scholars. They go and give different reasons why they point to a specific time, of various reasons why they point to a specific time. So what I'm saying to you is that, why would you expect the manuscript to survive at that time? And doesn't mean that if there's no manuscript, if there's no written evidence from that time, does that mean that thing did not happen at that time? In that case, you are going to reject Islam because we know we don't have any Uthmanic manuscript, even though you were writing on palimpsest. Muslims were in power at that time. They were rich, they were wealthy, they were writing on